にたどり着くことができるのでしょうか。運命よ、ここにいでよ。
剣に誓う。我が剣よ、影に従え。
火力全開。
判決を下す。
Alright, what is going on, guys? SpitefulHopes back again, coming at you with a Genshin Impact Elemental Guide. And now this is a question that I get asked all the time. How should I do this? What team comp should I use? And everything like that. We're going to go over everything about elements, so you will be able to put together a team based on your knowledge on that. As you see here, status effects. Cryo will reduce the target movement speed. Electro, afflicting bodies of water with Electro will spread the status to nearby targets in the water and will usually cause the Electro charged elemental reaction since they are already wet. We will go into elemental reactions in a bit. Causes target to become wet, used for elemental reactions when it comes to Hydro, and last but not least, Pyro causes small burning damage over time to the enemy, can be used with elemental reactions. Now, elemental reactions are pretty much two elements hitting together and colliding in order to either deal damage or cause a debuff. As you see here, ley line disorders, we can quickly go over this. When you go into a ley line, sometimes you will be hit with specific status debuffs. Slowing water increases your skill cooldown durations. Engulfing storm continuously drains your energy recharge. Smoldering flames damage over time, and ice increases your party's stamina consumption. Okay, so I mean this is pretty self-explanatory. This is for like ley lines. This is for I believe this is also used in some domains. As for the elemental reactions, we're going to go over that in a little bit, but I do want to talk about melt and I do want to talk about vaporize because these are actually very, very, very important. So going into melt, you'll see here that it is the combination of cryo and pyro. Triggering melt from a cryo or pyro attack deals increased damage. Now the reason I want to bring this up in particular is because melt attack will deal ×2 damage if pyro is the triggering element, or 50% more damage if cryo is the triggering element. This means that should you freeze up the enemy with cryo and then attack with a pyro style attack such as Diluc, you will actually deal 2 times damage. That's incredible. That's really, really big damage, right? However, should you burn them first and then hit them with cryo, the elemental reaction will trigger. You will lose the pyro and the cryo debuff on the enemy. However, you will deal with the cryo user an extra 50% damage. Now that is very, very important because in theory you will actually deal more damage if you freeze the enemy with cryo and then hit them with pyro next. So if you want to know how to like speed clear or just deal significantly more damage, try to get a cryo friend. Like if you're doing a party, right, use your cryo first, then hit with the pyro. Try not to go into a back and forth with cryo with pyro then cryo, pyro then cryo. You want to go cryo, pyro, cryo, pyro, because you'll be dealing a lot more damage. You will clear significantly quicker. And the same is also true when it comes to hydro and pyro. Attack will deal ×2 damage if the hydro is triggering the element. This means that if you slap the hell out of a burning opponent, you will actually deal ×2 damage, which is why you're able to deal significant damage with someone like Barbara, who's made to be, who could sometimes be used as a DPS in that regard. However, 1.5 times damage if pyro is the triggering element. So if the enemy is wet, your fire will deal more damage, sure, but not as much as if you slap the hell out of them with a little bit of water. Okay, so as you see here, Swirl will be combination of anything with wind, deals extra elemental damage and spreads the effect. And the same will also be with Crystallize. Geo will mesh well with literally every other status element except for, every other element except for Dendro, which we don't really have a character for that just yet. Absorbs some of the target's elemental energy and drops a crystal that can give a character an elemental shield if they touch the crystal. The shield will absorb all types of damage, but it protects against the shield's element more effectively than other types of damage. So pretty much with Crystallize, you'll be able to provide a shield for yourself, and you can protect yourself a little bit. Okay, so I really wanted to go over the ×2 and ×1.5 damage because that's very, very significant. Going into the rest, we can just use this wonderful elemental sharp. Feel free to screenshot. You want to take my picture with me? Okay. Anyways, so we have the Swirl here, we have Crystallize, and then we have Burning. Deals ongoing pyro damage for a duration. Now this is Dendro and Fire. We, like I said, don't really have a Dendro. You might see the Bulbasaur looking slimes inside the field every now and then. You'll see here Hydro and Pyro will have the deals additional elemental damage, however also dissipates when the effect occurs, that is vaporize. So vaporize and melt are pretty much hand in hand polar opposites. Water will deal more damage with pyro, and then pyro will deal more damage into cryo, right? The same can be said the other way around, but you deal 2 more damage should you use hydro into pyro and pyro into cryo, whereas it's 50% more damage if you do pyro into hydro and cryo into pyro. Yeah. All right, so going into the wonderful Electro element, you'll see here with hydro you have Electro charge, with cryo you have super conduct. For Electro charge, you will deal ongoing electro damage for a duration to the enemies. Super conduct deals cryo AoE damage and reduces the target's defense. Alright, so when it comes to reducing the target's defense, I'm not quite sure what the percentage on that is. However, decreasing an enemy's debuff, never a bad thing. So running a character like Electro with cryo and pyro, you could get into a wonderful little flow of things as well as hydro being in the mix. So I personally do like the combat skills more so than anything else. So pyro, electro, cryo, and hydro, I like those. I like that combination of teams more so for damage. However, I tend to run 2 wind units in my party, not necessarily for combat. However, I do like it for the elemental resonance. Now you'll see here elemental resonance. When there are certain combinations of elemental characters in the party, the whole party will receive a bonus. These bonuses stack and apply in co-op mode, which means if you're playing co-op mode and you're running with 2 wind users, you get decreased stamina consumption by 15%, increases movement speed by 10%, and shortens your skill cooldown by 5%. That can be very useful, especially when it comes to maneuvering around the map. For example, should you have Venti, you will get a skill cooldown reduction by 5%, as well as increased movement speed by 10%, and then stamina consumption by 15%, meaning you can hover longer, you can climb further, and you can overall explore the map significantly faster. And that can be that can save time, right? So like obviously you want to manage your team effectively. You want to be able to go in, deal damage when you need to fight, but you also want to be able to explore. You might want to run different things. So you'll see here for Enduring Rock, you have 2 Geo allies. Increases resistance to interruption. When protected by a shield, increases attack damage by 15%. So when you have a shield running on, which you can use with Ningguang, you can use with Zhongli, you will actually increase your damage by 15%, which is really, really cool. Fervent Flames, affected by cryo for 40% less time, increases attack by 25%. If you're trying to deal damage, you might want to run 2 fire units. Soothing Waters, affected by pyro for 40% less time, increases incoming healing by 30%. Impetuous Winds decreases stamina consumption by 15%. We already went over this one. Alright, and High Voltage, affected by Hydro for 40% less time, Superconduct, Overloaded, and Electro Charge. These are going to be the status that you get with Electro. So you see Overload, Superconduct, and Electro Charge. Have a 100% chance to generate an Electro Elemental Particle. That is very, very important to bringing your energy back, and this is also a big, big reason why someone along the lines of Razor actually performs very, very well with Fischl. He will actually get his stuff back very, very fast and be able to go into his Bankai. Next on the list, you have Shattering Ice, affected by Electro for 40% less time, increases crit rate against enemies that are frozen or affected by cryo by 15%. Protective Canopy, any 4 unique elements, all elemental resistance by 15%. Usually that one's not as necessary because usually you want to have a more focused team build. But I mean, this is pretty much all you really need to know when it comes to elemental. You'll see here when using co-op mode, if part of the party is in an abyssal domain, the resonance will be determined by the characters that are in the domain, and only characters in the domain will benefit from the bonuses. Keep in mind that the characters that you get as playable in your party as the 5th slot will not affect towards your resonance, and that will be mainly during character story quests. But that's pretty much it. Shoutouts to Sunmilk and Sleipnir, and of course this Genshin Impact fandom website. I think that they've done a very, very good job at putting all this together. Anyways, I'm gonna leave it at that. You know, guys, grind on, catch up, stay blessed. I wish you all the best luck your summons. I hope this video was able to help out any of you that were actually looking into this elemental stuff. So once again, for those that want to just take like a quick screenshot, I'll actually get out of your way. Yeah, so feel free to check that out. I like this one. and this one as well. But this one's mainly just for ley lines and domains and whatnot. Anyways, I'm gonna leave it at that. Stay blessed, y'all. If you found the video helpful, please share the video. I could definitely use the help. And yeah, I guess I'll leave it at that. Stay blessed, y'all. See y'all in the next one. Peace.